Hello, my name is Scott. I'm here to diagram some of the Colts offense and show you some of the concepts that Frank Wright's offense has and perhaps why they need certain types of player fits in terms of size, speed, things like that. And we'll talk a little bit about why Parris Campbell is important to the proper functioning of the offense. Probably going to hear some things you haven't heard before, and maybe they're dumb, maybe they're not. I don't know. It's all entertainment. Enjoy yourself. Well, what we got here is the second play of the first game of the year, Jags versus Colts. And this is a great play to show you what Parris Campbell does for the Colts offense and how we use them. So let's take a look. So we're going to start out, and you can pretty much see basically Jacksonville showing a man-to-man defense. So you've got man-to-man here on Doyle. You got a man-to-man here on Pascal. You got a man-to-man here up on Hilton. And a man-to-man here on Parris Campbell. Now, generally, and basically, they're in already in their nickel defense, which now is pretty much a base defense. So we've got a 4 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers, and here's the extra, the strong safety here. All right, so Rivers basically sees this, and he audibles to a play they already clearly had set up for this exact thing, and let's see what happens. So basically, he's going to see this. He's going to start telling everybody that we're audibly to the man-to-man beater, and after the snap here, Parris Campbell is going to come up here, do a little move, do a drag across the middle against this man here. Doyle is going to do an in route, and Hilton is too, and basically they're running a rub to try to knock one of their defenders off of them, and that would be the secondary option on this play under normal circumstances. And Pascal's going to come up here and do a deep in or a deep post play here. And all of these movements are really important. Basically, this player and this player, Pascal and Parris Campbell, are combining on this play if it is a man-to-man defense, which is what it looks like, and they are the action players for a deep play. So let's run through it. So we're going to have the snap here. Parris Campbell's one-on-one with this strong safety here. He immediately creates separation. And now it's just going to be wide open, where obviously this guy, number 25 here, I don't know who that is, but he doesn't have a lot of lateral movement like most strong safeties won't. And this is the kind of thing the Colts offense is basically designed to go up against. And he audibled to this play specifically because it looked like the strong safety was guarding Parris Campbell. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll watch him do that play there. All right, that's pretty cool. That guy really had no shot. So you sit there and say, well, that was a pretty good play, but, what if they want to stop that? Well, the only way in this particular situation they would have stopped it, basically this was the exact right play to call against this particular defense, because this guy's locked up over here, this guy's locked up there, this guy's locked up here, and he's running a short in, and so is Doyle. So that basically sucks all these people into this area right here. This is the Jack, their best linebacker, and he's playing man-to-man on this guy. Well, you know who he is, number 25. I forget things. Anyway, so the only way they really could stop this in from this defense, if, say, they knew it was coming, was either to have this guy drop back in his zone, which would have left Marlon Mack wide open over here, or they could do what is, and this is what is normally done, is they would have the free safety come down and do what's called a smash. Basically, if you keep running this play over and over again against their man defense, what they're going to do is their adjustment is going to be to bring this guy down at the snap of the ball and try to intercept or get a big hit on that player by running up here and doing something about it. And that's what the genius of this play is that if they do that, this guy is going to be wide open in the middle of the field. There's just nothing that they can do to stop it. Watch. If this guy smashes right now, he is wide open on a post. Now, he did kind of stop because he knew he wasn't the primary, and he saw the defender. He saw the free safety back there, so he knew it wasn't coming to him because there's no way Rivers is going to throw the ball to the wrong place like that. So basically, that's what they're talking about when they talk about how important Parris Campbell is, because if you have a lesser receiver running that route, say somebody you don't worry about taking it out, say that Pascal's running that route. First of all, there's a good chance he doesn't get the separation that Campbell got right at the top of the route there. But he's also not going to catch and explode like Campbell does. So he's much more likely to get tackled there one-on-one by the guy defending him. But because Campbell can catch and explode pretty much at the same time, because he's such a fluid athlete, you're not the Jaguars aren't risking a 15-yard play here. They're risking a 60-yard touchdown. So that's why having Campbell there is so important, because Pascal could get open on this play. He's fine with that. He just wouldn't get that open where it's some major touchdown risk. So say you keep doing this and this guy comes down. Well, that's when you start doing stuff with Pascal over here. Basically when you see this particular lineman, when you see one deep safety like that. Also, if you watch this again, you'll see how effective the rub is down at the bottom of the screen here with Doyle and Hilton. And with the rub, your ideal situation is to get this player to run into that player, basically leaving one of these two guys wide open. And if one of these guys, you can't really block this guy. Joel can't just come up here and waylay this guy, but he can come up here and stand and just not move. As long as he doesn't push off or do anything with his hands, he's not going to get called for that as a pick. So what you can see here, this was going to be the secondary. This is really, but if Campbell had fallen down here, then this ball would have gone to Hilton right here, and he would have got probably 10, 15 yards easily out of that. Marlon Mack was well covered on this outlet right there. But this also is the kind of play too. If Rivers had gotten immediate pressure here, what would have happened at that point? If he'd gotten pressure before Campbell got to the part break here, then he would have just whipped that ball to Marlon Mack as quickly as he could, which he did multiple times in this game. And he would not have gone very far. So this is one of the limitations of his mobility, because if you look at this situation, he's going up there, he's coming over here, this guy's going to stop. And if it was somebody like Andrew Luck or Wentz, they just run right up through here. And they got a huge hole. They could probably run for 10, 15 yards easily. And that's one of the places where you see the issue with the immobility. So this was a nice play. Now this one is going to be a run play. And we come up, and because of the alignment of our receivers, we've got Campbell here, we've got Pascal here, and Hilton here. So we got three receivers. We got one running back, and there's Doyle at tight end up here. And because of our alignment, we basically have created a situation where on the near side of the field up here, there's going to be a lot of space. And the question is, how do you get to that? Because, if you just run a sweep out here or something, I mean, there's nobody up here to block that guy. So he would just come up here and tackle him. So basically, they're going to run a quick dive play from the shotgun here, and he's just going to run it right through there. And the idea is for them to get separation between the tight end and the left tackle here. And if you look at it, you beat this guy and you beat this guy, that's a touchdown. So that's what we're looking at here. And let's take a look. So now it's one-on-one with Mack and this linebacker. And he beats him. and he had one more guy to beat, and it's a touchdown. And this is one of the things that keeps teams not wanting to play man-to-man defense. Is because when you have man-to-man, it's easy to create overloads on one side of the field or another, either to overload as a play for a pass play by a bunch of rubs or a complex route combination, but also for running plays. And this is basically how you use formations to create mismatches in the running game, especially when two of your best offensive linemen are here going against their defensive ends. That's a big plus for you. We'll let that go through. Matt gets tackled there. If he had broke that outside, he might have had a real good shot at breaking that. So we'll go ahead and look at it again here. So he's being patient. And if you look at this and you say, is the play supposed to be going there? Because he did kind of go that way right at first. And that's always a question. It's hard to say. This is basically a zone running play. And basically the offensive linemen are supposed to control their defenders and push them wherever they feel like going. And the running back's job is to read that. In this case, Mac read that as running straight ahead. Another thing to watch right here that's talking about the difference between Rivers and a more mobile quarterback is that watch what Rivers does after he hands the ball off here. He takes off to the left. So basically by doing that, he's trying to basically give this linebacker a moment of indecision, which he might have actually done, saying, hey, did he keep the ball? Is he running with it? Now, that's only so much of a fake out with Rivers having the ball, but you do that once or twice a game with Wentz, and that's something they got to respect, and that definitely would make this hole a lot bigger. It's probably bigger than it should be. I think this linebacker was unduly influenced by Rivers there. But Max in the situation here, man, if he dodges in the middle and then comes back out, he is going to be wide open. But and you can see the safety coming up and actually has his leverage to that side to actually prevent that. If you watch, he is very fundamentally sound. He keeps his body square. He's on the outside of him because he's got help over here at the inside. So that was a nice play for the defense and for the offense. Okay. Well, this is going to be our first play against a zone defense here. So let's give it a start here. This is a little bit further in that same drive. And this looks like a single high man-to-man defense. So we got locked up here, locked up here, locked up here, and this guy would cover Doyle, and they've actually had this same alignment a couple times earlier. And then we have a free safety up here playing center field. That's what it looks like. So actually, they're going to transition into a zone defense. Let's take a look at that. We'll concentrate on what the defense is doing at first. So immediately, so right here, really not seeing anything in terms of it still looks like a man-to-man defense, at least to me. I don't know about Mr. Rivers. So let's let it go a little more. Now, at this point, this guy still looks like he's guarding him man-to-man. This guy still looks like he's guarding this guy man-to-man. This looks like man-to-man up here, and so does this still. But if we let it play a couple more frames, at this point, this safety has just released this wide receiver. He basically was just giving him a chuck or kind of getting in his way to slow him down. And at this point, due to the alignment of having those two wide receivers run the route that they just did, this guy is wide open. And this linebacker is not anywhere to do anything about it. Now, Rivers is not even looking that way. And basically, I'm not 100% sure that he saw this as his own defense because that is the play right there. There's no safety in the middle of the field. He's over here worried about this stuff. And you can see him. He's going to take off. Boom, he's gone. And if this guy somehow followed him, that was what they were trying to guard over here. So looks like Hilton did a little out hook there. And that would have been a tough throw right there if he had stayed. But basically, Rivers, instead, what the action that actually was involved here was basically a two-man route between Doyle and number 11 here. I don't remember names very well. I will remember his name in a moment. Anywho, oh, Pittman. Yes. So basically, Pittman's going to come up here and just do a button hook. And Doyle's going to come up here and loop around. And he's actually wide open as well. That's honestly, if you're on this side of the field and Rivers had read that as a zone defense, that still would have been the place to go. And I believe he threw it to this guy because this would have been an adequate route against a man-to-man defense as well. So let's see what happens. You can see Doyle is just breaking wide open. And that's another thing I noticed in this game is that Rivers was actually getting rid of the ball well before he had to, when there were still plays to be made. To me, this was the play you throw it to when you got no time, when you're in a game and you know that you haven't had good protection. You're just going to come into a play like this and say, okay, I'm just going to get this off, get a positive play. So, in my opinion, if he had seen this as his own defense, I believe this guy would have been primary receiver on the play. But I have a feeling that this was kind of drawn up out of the box to get this ball to Pittman early in the game, early in his rookie season, just to get his hands on a ball, an easy play, and help him be more comfortable. But if Rivers had thrown this ball any later, he would have run Pittman directly into a collision with this linebacker here. And again, he threw it, but he was getting rid of that ball. It was out. Also, this guy would have had trouble guarding Hilton up here because of this guy right here. Hines was coming out on a little flare there, and that would have been an easy completion as well. So we didn't lose this game because we didn't have people open, I'll tell you that. So there you go. Okay, this is going to be a touchdown run by Hines. This is the end of that first drive. And Rivers is going to fake it to Hines, or he's going to hand it to Hines and then fake like he's going to run. So when he does that, the linebackers come up. This guy comes up, as they should. So we got a nice gap here. You see Quentin has moved his man and probably that part of the line over. So at this point, if he doesn't come off this block, which it looks like is actually what he's trying to do, this play isn't going very far. At least it's going to be Hines having to make this guy miss. But let's see. So yeah, looks like Quentin got into him, and that created this hole here. And the Hines is going to rip right through it. But watch Rivers on this. Well, I'll go ahead. We'll do a touchdown first, so everybody can see the touchdown. So it's a good acceleration. He breaks a tackle right there. You know, Hines is a strong runner. He doesn't just go down. So let's see what Philip Rivers doing this fake does for us, and with an eye towards what it's going to look like with Wentz is in the game running the same offense. So he fakes it. Now, he fakes it and runs off here. This guy, it's his responsibility to stop the quarterback from running on that play. And as you can see, if this was a fast quarterback, he'd be gone. This is how having an immobile quarterback can cripple your running game, especially if you don't have great push up front, which we do. If we didn't, this is the kind of thing that would just make it so you couldn't run the ball at all. So basically, this guy, he just ignores Rivers and just runs right for him. So that easily could have been a tackle in the backfield right there, simply because Rivers was really slow and was no threat to run. So on this play with Wentz in the game, you're going to see this guy have to stay home, number 29. He's not going to be able to do that. And that's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to run inside like that. So he misses that play, and Hines is gone. Good play. Okay, this is the first offensive play on the Colts' second drive. And it's going to be a play fake and a throw to Campbell over the middle, using that same drag route we saw from the first drive. All right, so basically we have what looks like a man-to-man defense again. So these two look like they're locked up. These two look like they're locked up. These two are locked up, and we're running with a running back and Mo Alley Cox over here at tight end. So basically one tight end, one running back, three wide receivers. And this guy is probably being guarded by the safety, and the linebacker here is going to take Mac, which leaves this man without responsibility and this man without a responsibility. And everything about this looks like a man defense. Rivers doesn't have a whole lot of comment about that. Now, he waits, okay? He starts making hand motion. It looks like he's getting ready to snap. And all of a sudden, the Jaguars rotate out of that man-to-man defense, or at least they're dropping that safety there that looked like he was going to be up here guarding Mo Alley Cox. At the very least, you know now that that guy is not guarding Mo Alley Cox, and if he is, Mo Alley Cox is going to be open on a short route somewhere. So let's see what this looks like. So yeah, strong safety comes down here. So now we're looking at what looks like it probably is zone defense, but at the very least, we got two men back right now. One man back. So free safety just rotate all the way back. Strong safeties up here. This is a very traditional defensive alignment, and basically what you used to see all the time in NFL when they were in nickel, because they still only have their two linebackers in and their third defensive back. Okay. So at the snap of the ball, this is very obviously man defense. And you know that because this linebacker immediately vacates his area away from the middle of the field towards Mo Alley Cox. So he's guarding Mo Alley Cox. So this man is man-to-man up here. We have Campbell again man-to-man against this safety. And we have Hilton down here man-to-man. So let's follow it through again. So again, Hilton is wide open, or Parris Campbell is wide open again. And so basically, this guy cannot guard him. It just simply can't. And you can see the safety stays back. You know, he probably needs to with this right here. But, you know, that's something that when a defensive coordinator starts running a smash, when they start coming down to stop these plays, that's a risky play. It's as risky as blitzing because you're basically vacating the middle of the field. So let's follow this out. So he's wide open again. And you can see Hilton breaking wide open. If this safety had come down, that would have been a touchdown right there. If Rivers had seen it quick enough to get the ball out, because with Rivers' arm strength, we're about 2 or 3 yards shy of where Rivers would not be able to throw a deep pass here. So probably if he had thrown the ball right anywhere from here to about there, he probably could have got enough air underneath it over here. But that's the kind of thing with Rivers. He's got to see those things early, or he's just not going to be able to get the ball downfield. Now, Campbell here probably should have just headed right for the sideline, maybe a little deke here, because he's basically got a triangle here around him. So this is this is a big fumble situation, but he does not fumble. He does fine. Okay, a couple plays later. Let's see what we got here. So Colts have 3 wide receivers to the right here. They have Jack Doyle over here, and they have Hines in the backfield. This is the same formation, same alignment, same area horizontally on the field where they ran that quick little dive to Hines before. So if you remember, these guys blocked down. Rivers handed to Hines, and he came up through here, and then Rivers kind of ran out here where he might have actually influenced the linebacker. And just based on the defense, what it looks like here, it still could be a man-to-man defense, but there's one little hint that it's not a man-to-man defense. And I'll let you look at it just for a second. Okay, you probably didn't see it, but who's guarding Parris Campbell here? Is it this linebacker? I don't think this linebacker's guarding Parris Campbell. That's just me, because Parris Campbell has been doing these crossing routes, and if that strong safety couldn't stop him, this guy sure as hell isn't. I don't even know who that is. He sucks. Anyway, so basically this is a 2-man play, and it looks like a man defense. So basically you would want Campbell coming up and doing another drag route. And then we got Doyle over here running a slant. Okay. And basically, this is going to turn out to be a zone defense. And you can tell right now, this guy, he's not going towards a player. He's kind of hanging out in the middle of the field. All right. And he did kind of, both players did react to the fake here. So they did kind of run up, which is part of the reason you need a good running game to help the passing game, is that play action will actually affect players, where if they don't worry about the run, then they won't. All right. So now he stays in the middle of the field. So they're bracketing him now. And now Campbell's route changed there. When he saw this linebacker in the middle of the field, he knew it was a zone at that point. And instead of coming across, he hooked up right here and just stopped. Now you say, well, why would you just stop there? Well, by stopping there, first of all, he is open right now. But the second thing is, if he continues running, he runs Jack here, to Miles Jack. Is that right? I don't even know what this guy's name is. Anyway, he runs him right into Doyle's position right there. So as soon as he knows it's zone, and as soon as this guy's in the center field like this, and there's nobody else in the center field, Doyle becomes the hot route right there. So, or the primary route. So there it goes. Now Rivers misses this. Now, there's a good chance that that route was affected by a good play by that free safety over there. He was in good position. So he seems like he's a pretty good fundamental assistant, because he knows that he really knows he doesn't have a whole lot of help either way. But he also doesn't know what this guy's going to do, because he'll drop back further if he doesn't see Campbell doing this. But he looks like he's guarding the outside, but he chucks Doyle right at the top of the route and keeps him from getting a free release. Kind of gets in his way. But if you notice, because of Rivers' arm strength, now this is not a video just dogging on Rivers, but because of Rivers' limited arm strength, he had to get rid of that ball before Doyle got open. And Doyle really wasn't that open because of an effective play by the safety and the fact that Doyle, just isn't his kind of play. He's not really open. And most likely, had it not been for the defender's good play there, slowing up Doyle a little bit, Rivers' throw was probably perfectly fine. But so there that goes. If you notice, this is something I really don't like, but it's a reality in the NFL. As soon as these two guys see zone, they know the ball's not coming to them. And you can watch them. They're not exactly running hard on these routes, which I kind of wish they would. Because by just kind of going through the paces on those routes, you say, what does it matter? The ball was never going to go over there, blah, blah, blah. It matters because even someone like me can easily see that this was not the primary pattern on this. And it gives you more intelligence about this play when the defensive people are watching this video, next week's opponent and future opponents. They know basically now, they see this alignment, it's likely that we have an audible or whatever else set up to do this play. And that these guys just knew right from the bat the ball wasn't coming there. That's the kind of thing that can give you an edge as a defensive coordinator if you see that in the tape. So we'll just let this go one time and just kind of watch it happen naturally. Okay. And that wasn't terribly overthrown. It almost certainly was that chuck at the top of the route that slowed that up. So we missed the touchdown there, but not too bad. And if I knew how to do music, this would be where the ominous tones start coming in. Let's take a look at their first offensive play in the second quarter here. So this is actually a good play. No reason to be concerned about the future or anything else, but let's take a look. So what do we got here? This looks like a man-to-man defense. So locked up here, locked up here. We've got two tight ends in, and we got a strong to the left side. And we've got Taylor here in the background. I think that's Taylor. It might be Mac. Either way, so basically we have a strong running formation over here. We've had a similar formation earlier in the game several times, except we had tripped receivers here and just Doyle at the end of the line here. But in this case, it's basically the same formation, except that receiver's over here and he's a tight end now. So let's take a look and see what we got here. And this looks like a man-to-man defense. So right there, we've got the safety is probably got Doyle, and this safety probably has Mo Alley Cox there. And this linebacker here probably has the running back, and this guy, well, I don't know what his responsibilities are. Now, if you thought that if the Jaguars were known as a blitzing defense, which they aren't, you might easily conclude one of these two guys was blitzing and one of these guys was going to cover up whatever happened over here. But they're not really a big blitzing team. So let's take a look, see what happens here. So see, man, they run a play fake, which is very successful. If you notice, these two linebackers just dove hard into the middle, basically leaving this middle wide open. And also the two tight ends did not release for passes. And that's still holding these guys out in over here. So basically, the action has created a huge hole here. And we basically have a two-man route between these two players, Hilton and Pascal. And then this is going to be our release route here in case these guys aren't open. All right, let's let this continue out. Now, this is something very, very important that happens that the Colts missed. It would have been difficult for Rivers to pick this up. And this is the kind of thing that the coach in the booth should be radioing down to Frank Reich. Because on this, basically the Jaguars are running the same defense, what it looks like that they are running around a game. But now they're running a variation on it, which is pretty much designed to fool a guy like Philip Rivers and to take advantage of his lack of arm strength. So what happens here? This guy looks like he's guarding here, but watch what happens. This ball is going to come out and it's going to go on an out route here to Hilton. And it's going to take plenty of time to get there, but he's so wide open that there's not really a problem. But watch this guy. This is the guy that you need to watch. Because this is the ominous tones. This is the sound, the shark music, dun 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 dun, coming up. Take a look at this. He just lets him go. He basically hands him off to the free safety, and the free safety just starts booking it down the field there. Okay? And he's just sitting here now. Now, if Hilton had been coming into the center of the field here, which the play fake would have made you think he probably was going to, this guy would have been perfectly positioned. And this was a trap play. This was trying to trick Rivers into throwing an interception on an in-breaking route on this side of the field. But that is not what happened. So we can see that Rivers is already in his throwing motion right as Hilton's breaking. So basically he anticipated this break pretty well. Probably for him, he probably could have thrown his ball even a little earlier because his arm strength. So watch how long it takes his ball to get there. So boop. But he was just that wide open. So you say, well, Scott, well, how could this be a bad play? You know, what is so dangerous about that? Well, let me show you what happens the next time that they run this. All right, it's coming right up. You gotta bear with me, I'm kind of stupid. All right, so kind of the same look. You know, these guys are locked up. In terms of the defense anyway, we have a completely different set of receivers out here. So now we have, that looks like Pittman, we got Hilton, we've got Mo Alley Cox, and I guess that's Pascal. So we got 3 receivers, a tight end out wide, and a running back. All right, so let's see what happens. Looks like man-to-man, locked up there, locked up there, locked up here or here, don't know which, and locked up here. So we have 2 free guys. Let's see, this guy's got to have the running back, at least if it was a man-to-man defense, a normal man-to-man defense. And this is your free safety. He's got the middle of the field here is what it looks like. All right, so what's going to happen on this play is Hilton gets a great release off this guy. And if this is a man-to-man defense, he's going to be wide open. And it looks like a man-to-man defense. So this guy is booking it up the field. And he's basically, his job is to create a hole in this area for Hilton to come over here and do an outside hook to. Basically similar play to what they just did. Well, something's going to be different than it was on any of the previous plays. First of all, we have two deep safeties because they pretty much had to do that because of this action over here and what this guy's job is going to be on this play. So let's take a look. So basically, this guy looks like he's wide open, but if you notice, Rivers has already thrown the ball at this point. He has no way he can see this without advanced knowledge coming from the booth upstairs. And because his weaker arm, he has to throw this ball before other quarterbacks would. So by the time he throws it, there is no symptom or nothing for him to see that tells him that this is what we're going to be, that this is going to happen. This guy is going to release Pittman going up the field. Just like the previous play, a receiver just gets released, and this free safety just picks him up. So instead of looking like man-to-man, where this guy would be following Pittman all the way down the field, leaving this area wide open, what's happened is this guy lets Pittman get by him and just stays there and passes that receiver off to the free safety. And they basically are bracketing Hilton on this play. And we can see what happens. So Rivers is seeing man-to-man. He's looking at the center of the field to try to draw this guy in a little bit. He's not really looking at Hilton. He's kind of looking right here to try to goof with this guy because he thinks it's a man-to-man defense. He's been fooled at this point. Okay, this guy's wide open, looks like, but he's in a trail position, and we even have this guy coming up a little bit just to try to fool him a little more. And then we see what happens. Rivers gotten rid of the ball. This guy drops Pittman and just lets him go. And we have an interception because that ball is just floating down the field, basically. Boom, just like that. Now let's go back and look at when Rivers let go of that ball. Could he have seen that? Is it even possible? They used to get Manning on this kind of thing. That's one of the things that the Patriots did. Anyway, so at this point, there is no symptom. When he's getting ready to release this ball, there's nothing that tells him this player is going to stop at all. So this is not Rivers' fault in terms of that he should have done something different per se. Based on how soon he has to throw the ball, he has to be an anticipation thrower, and this is not something that he could have anticipated without getting some kind of advanced knowledge from the bench. And this is where limited arm strength really shows up, is because a stronger arm quarterback has longer to wait on this play. And somebody like Wentz would have a lot longer to wait to see what this guy was doing. And he would have seen this guy slowing down because he can only go, he pretty much has to stop now if he wants to do anything about Hilton. So we watch it, boom, just like that, interception. Also, this is one of the negatives to having smaller wide receivers like Hilton. A bigger wide receiver would not have gotten bumped out of the way there, leading to that easy interception. It's a lot easier for a big 6'2", 6'3" receiver to knock that ball away or simply be in the way in some way. And that did not happen here. You used to see that with Marvin Harrison too, is that he just wasn't big enough to fight for balls that were misaimed or thrown into traffic like that. Here you can see, we can see Rivers looking at the safety and then looking over to the right. So look at the middle, looks to the right, throws, interception. So this was not really necessarily a bad play by Rivers. This was a well scouted and well schemed defense against that particular thing that the Colts like to do there. Okay, this is slightly interesting. So the Colts got the ball back, and this is their next drive. And basically, we're going to see a play that we saw earlier to Pittman, but run out of a different formation. And that's one of the things A lot of times, when you hear an offense has like hundreds of plays or whatever like that, a lot of times it's the same play but different formations. So in this case, we've got wide receiver, tight end, wide receiver. So 3 wide receivers and a running back. Basically, we've got Hines. I'm sorry, I called him a receiver. So basically, we have running back, tight end, receiver, receiver. So we have 2 receivers, 2 tight ends. Basically, Hines is going to run an in route. This is the same play they threw to Pittman on the first drive, the one where I said he just was throwing it to get him comfortable. So they basically run the exact same play out of a different formation with different personnel. So Hines is going to come in here and do a hook. Mo Cox is going to come in here and do a hook into the middle. And he's open, I believe, again. And Rivers does not look at him because this play is designed to go to Hines, period. And these guys run out here because of the formation the defense was in. It actually causes Pascal to be wide open down the middle. But that was not part of Rivers' progression. At least it doesn't appear to be because he doesn't even look over there. So immediately he's looking over to the right. And also, if you notice, for good reason, this is probably part of their offense as well. He's probably supposed to be looking up there because you notice we have 2 defenders, 2 offensive players. Whereas down here we have 3 offensive players and 4 defenders. Maybe you could even count a 5th here. So these 2 are kind of in a bubble by themselves. Basically, the alignment of the offense caused this issue because when Hines came out here to play at a wide receiver position, whoever was guarding him in that defense basically had to go out there and leave a hole out here a little bit. So basically he's going to run that in route, and he's going to be wide open because this guy's not a great man-to-man defender, and he can't get up there. And the other issue is that this safety has the lean over here on this side because of the threat of these 3 wide receivers. So it was smart for Rivers to go there. I'm guessing it was designed to make the defense to make a decision by the alignment of the play of the receivers. And you can see he's wide open. But nothing real interesting about that play other than the fact is just to demonstrate that they're running the same play out of a different formation with different personnel. Okay, a couple plays later. This looks like a man-to-man defense to me. In fact, it almost looks what I guess you'd say in literary world is desperately man-to-man. So I think that Rivers was thinking that there might be something more complicated going on. As it turns out, there wasn't. So basically, this will be a man-to-man defense. So we're locked up here, 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 and up here. And this guy, he's got the running back. All right. So we've got 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. All right. So we're going to have Doyle run an in route here. We're going to have this player is going to come out here and run a deep route. And we have Hilton running an in. Okay. So basically, you've got Rivers is reading this situation to see who comes open. I think that their primary on this play is Parris Campbell right here. Oh, no, actually, he's right there. So let's see what happens on this play. So now we have a problem. That guy is not supposed to be there. So we have Rivers getting plowed in the face here. Looks like it might be Quentin has let that guy go. Let's go back and see what was going on with that. So it's 3rd and 7, as you can see there. So how did we get that pressure up the middle? All right, so it was a blitz. It looked like that was a safety, number 41 there. This guy. So that's how they got that pressure. So basically they blitz 1 guy, so it looks like a 4-man pressure, these 4 guys. And this guy gets through. So basically Rivers has to basically chuck this ball up now. most coaches, I think, would say this ball should have been thrown away. But Rivers has basically genius savant kind of anticipation. The best anticipation by a Colts quarterback that I've seen, better than Manning and Luck. That's the way, really the only way that Rivers can get by with his physical tools. Even when he came in the league, his physical tools were just honestly awful. So let's see what he does here. So he sees all this. He sees basically by this being a man-to-man defense, Campbell is going to be open here unless this guy somehow sticks to him like glue, which he is not going to stick to him like glue. So there he goes. So now he's wide open. If you notice, Rivers has already let the ball go before the cut because he had to. He saw this guy coming up to plow him, and plow him he did. So there we go. Now this is also the kind of play where, Rivers does get himself in trouble. And this is also one of the reasons why both the Colts offense and Rivers' own talents fit larger wide receivers. Look at this ball, the way it's thrown over the top like that. You got a 5'8" wide receiver there. He ain't getting this ball unless he's got, 4 yards of separation. And you see a lot of angles like this in Reich's offense. And that basically is what tells you, even if you didn't see the players on the field, you would know basically on the route design that this is an offense that's designed for larger wide receivers that can get open underneath and have good wherewithal to find open holes and things like that. So there we go. That was a good catch by Campbell. That's the kind of thing that scouts were worried when he came out of Ohio State. Was he ever going to be making plays like that? Because his route tree was very limited in college. He pretty much was just running drag routes, under routes, and line of scrimmage type runs and screenplays. So, okay. Now, here's where we see the adjustment that the Colts made to that fake man defense that got the interception earlier. So we're at about the middle of the second quarter here. Let's see what we got. So we got wide receiver, 2 tight ends, a running back. So only 2 wide receivers in the game. You notice we're on the left hash. We got 2 tight ends on the side. So this is a run-heavy, run-left formation. But by having receivers on this side, basically it more so opens up this side of the field. But look how these guys are aligned compared to how they were aligned the last couple times. Because before, when they had this formation, a couple of times they handed the ball on little quick dive plays to Hines here. But we have more linebackers over here. Well, he's playing outside the defensive end where he was inside the defensive end before, and the safety is really outside the defensive end. So if that could easily have been the play that was called in the huddle there, but it's not there based on the alignment, and this guy's up here too. So we have a lot of help over here for this particular running play if that's what they were trying to do. But actually what's going on here is the Colts, either they called this play in the huddle or it was audible too, because basically they're expecting the same kind of trail situation that happened with this guy on the play that they intercepted the ball to Hilton over here. So basically, he's going to run straight out. They're basically going to crisscross here, and it's basically designed to get somebody wide open if they're doing that trail. And we'll watch it here. It looked like there was a route adjustment there. So basically, Hilton came underneath and basically causes a natural rub. Now, honestly, from what I could see, Hilton should have been wide open here, and they should have just thrown the ball there. But they're trying to take a deep shot, so they're going to go after Pascal, who does have a little bit of separation on his player. But honestly, one of the things that really affects the completion percentage on deep plays is how good the receivers are at operating in space and using their body to shield the ball from the defender. In this situation, I don't think Pascal picks up the ball as early as he should have, and thus he did not have time to put his body in a place that would have made this pass a little easier to complete. So it looks like Rivers threw it right over the top. And whereas you'd think he would have thrown it over here. So I'm not sure whether that's because that's where the receiver was running or whether Rivers should have thrown this ball a little further outside. But because there was a lot of room over there. Anyway, see, Hilton should have got that ball. So this might have been a mistake by Rivers. And it's hard to say how much of this stuff is statically called as part of the play and what options he actually has. But you have to figure it's early in the season. They didn't have training camp. You know, things are pretty simple at this point. Yeah, you can see Hilton wide open here. Everybody else is pretty much covered up, looks like. So I'm not sure. Rivers threw that where he wanted to on that one. Okay, this is the play after Matt got hurt. It's 3rd and 7, and you got Hines in there to replace him. And this looks like a man-to-man defense. If you look up here at the top, you know, this guy's up in his grill. He's basically in a good position to chuck him at the line and basically do a little bump and run. Same here. And as is normal, and this is one of the reasons you put T.Y. Hilton, that's who this is here, in the slot, is that in the slot, they can't get up on you as much. It's so easy to pick off that defender with all the traffic around the line of scrimmage, because if this guy tried to get up and get in Hilton's face, if Hilton beat him, first of all, you could have just a run a little button hook here and have Hilton just come beat this guy if he was up on him like that, just head right down there, he's wide open. You can't really, just with the angles, everything else. And when they say someone's a slot corner and that they're good at slot corner, like Kenny Moore, that basically means that they do good with off coverage, that they're able to keep up with their receiver without bumping or disrupting their route. And that's what position this guy's in. Now, it turns out this guy is not a good off defender because T.Y. Hilton gets completely wide open here. And it's good that he did because nobody else was open on this play. You could say Doyle was open, but, you know, I don't think Rivers can get that ball in there, honestly, without super anticipating that. And he's not going to do that with Doyle, not that far downfield. But we can see Hilton come out and do an out route, and he has beat his man cleanly. Pascal's up here is getting completely locked down. Same over here. And Mack was covered too over here, or Hines. So that was a nice completion there, but you can see, well, first of all, you can see what Hilton does against man-to-man defense generally, unless we've got a top-flight corner. So here we're deep into the 3rd quarter, and we have a very weird defense here, and opportunity where Rivers shows his wheels there. So let's look at our alignment here. So we've got 1 wide receiver, 2 wide receiver, 3 wide receivers. You have Doyle at tight end lining up outside of a receiver there, which is an odd formation. And they basically put Hines in motion, so to put him in a wide receiver position. Now, if you look at the alignment, it's very clearly not showing a man defense. So that looks, you know, maybe that could be man, but maybe that could be man, but who's guarding him? I mean, it's not going to be this linebacker. And basically also when Hines leaves the backfield, somebody in particular doesn't chase him. This cornerback just widens his spacing on the field. So we definitely, there's no sign of this being a man-to-man defense at the start. So let's snap the ball here. All right. So immediately you've got Pittman doing a drag over the middle, basically running a Parris Campbell type route. You've got Doyle doing an outside hook. And it does look like a zone defense pretty much. Other than this guy, in your zone defense, at this point of play, you really shouldn't be running hard anywhere in particular, but he's definitely doing something. So let's see what that is. Yeah, he's playing some kind of combination zone, matchup zone type situation. A matchup zone is where defenders start out in a zone, but will match up with players as they start their routes, kind of transitioning into sort of a man-to-man defense. So they're definitely doing something funky to keep any kind of crossers from causing any trouble. So very interesting. So you'd probably say that Campbell is open there. I'll tell you, Rivers at the snap, he looked at Parris Campbell here. I'm sorry, that's Pittman. He was looking at him right at the start, but he saw the coverage or something, and he immediately switched off over here to where Hines is at. But that wasn't developing fast enough. And if we go back and look at the line play, watch this guy gets by Costanzo up here and causes quite a bit of pressure. So Rivers showed good pocket awareness and got out of there as quick as he could and got a few yards. That's the kind of play where, Wentz probably would have got any more yards there. His linebackers came up pretty good, but I thought that was interesting defense. This will give you a better idea. Watch Rivers' head. He looks over to the right to see what the coverage is on Campbell, and it's not what he's looking for at all. Basically, he probably was looking straight up to see if this guy was guarding him. As soon as he sees he's not, he's moving off. I don't know why he came off of Pittman there, but he immediately starts looking over to Hines, and this ball would have gone to Hines if he hadn't sensed that pressure behind him, even though there were two guys kind of in Hines' area. But anyway, okay, we're late in the third quarter, and we are got a 1st and 5 here. We have a nice little play going on here. So let's take that back here. All right, so looks like we got man-to-man defense. You know how you make sure you have man-to-man defense? You put somebody in motion. So we got a lock up here, lock up here. Looks like this man is guarding Doyle. We got Pascal down here. Looks like he's being guarded by this guy. So Rivers says, hey, is this man-to-man? Well, you put a guy in motion, and does somebody follow him or not? So basically, this dude followed Doyle when he came over there, making it look like it's probably a man-to-man defense. Sometimes they do try to fool you and run a zone out of something like this, but it's a very complex way of doing things. So anywho, let's see what happens. So we have a play fake. That brings both these linebackers up, some more than others. All right, we got Pascal coming down here, releasing off. He's going to come up, and he's going to run the Parris Campbell drag route. So he's going to come up here like this and then go across. Okay, same thing that Parris Campbell was doing earlier. I will say one difference is he has a cornerback on him now instead of, and whereas Campbell was almost always guarded by a safety in that particular situation. So we see him. He gets separation right there, but not as much as Campbell is getting against that safety. And then he drifts away from the ball while it's coming to him, basically reducing the distance between him and the defender. So you can see what happens here. They took all that trouble, and all they ended up with was a contested catch for Pascal. That is a play right there where if Campbell is running that play, you would expect there to be more separation. The other issue is that a quarterback with a stronger arm would have got that ball there quicker, and there would have been also less time for that defender to react. But I did not have this play in mind when I was mentioning why Parris Campbell was important for this particular kind of route, but there it is. There's graphic proof right there. Okay, we are getting late in the fourth quarter. We're down by 4. And at this point, things have slowed down for us a little bit. When Marlon Mack was hurt, our base offense took a hit because I don't think that Jonathan Taylor was up to speed on the vast majority of the playbook due to a lack of preseason and training camp. 2020 was a bad year for a lot of people, and it didn't help the rookies get rolling there. So they really had a limited play book available once Mack got hurt. I think most of the plays that Hines had probably had practiced were in the passing game. So when Mac got hurt, they basically went to 3 wide receivers with Hines in there, but they lost their running threat. And this is a good example of the time of the game and the score affecting how your offense operates. So we're going to have a play fake here. If we have got wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. So we got 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, no tight ends. And we're going to have a play fake here in the middle. And I want you to watch these guys right here. They really aren't fooled. They don't react that much. That's because they no longer respect our running game because we haven't been running well on them. So they barely even go forward on that play fake, and then they're back. They're back in their zones. And our primary receiver, I believe, on this play after, well, looks like secondary. Rivers is definitely looking at Hilton on this play. He's going to come in like this, and Bolali Cox is going to basically run a fade here, and this guy brackets him the whole way. So there was just nothing going on deep over here. And I think the secondary play was Pittman, who's going to come and do a deep in, but that's not open because all these guys got back in their zones and are waiting. So then Rivers gets some pressure in the pocket. He kind of pulls it out, pulls it down, and then he's just going to toss to Taylor there for a short gain. And that's what happens when you can't run the ball. Your play fakes no longer bring those linebackers up. You don't create the separation in the middle of the field that your wide receiver needs, and it just makes it a very difficult throw or impossible. Okay, remember when I said you couldn't just keep running that crossing play over and over again or else they do something about it? Well, this is what it looks like when they do something about it. So 3rd and 3, we've got Pascal. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's Campbell in the slot there. We got Pascal down here, Hilton down here, and Johnson. Not sure who that is. Anyway, he's not involved. So let's go ahead and run this. Basically, we're going to have Campbell coming over here and doing his crosser. And probably the guy you want to watch is this guy right here, who's not, you wouldn't think would be the guy doing it. You'd think if you were trying to stop this play right here, this guy would come down. But I don't think he could because of Hilton being over here, who does take off. I mean, part of the design of offense is to keep this guy from coming down. By sending Hilton deep over there, well, I'm sorry, the design of the offense is to keep this guy from coming down and doing something with that crosser. So I don't think that Rivers was even reading this guy. So just take a look. So he calls some kind of audible there. So he has called an audible to get into this play based on probably this mismatch, and the alignment tells him man to man, which to him is going to be the ideal situation to get this guy wide open over here. So here we go. So it turns out it's a zone. Okay, that's fine. Well, even in this zone, he should still be open if he's led properly because he's going to be able to get past this linebacker into this hole right here. But watch this dude. He is watching for this play. That's what he's here for. Boom. And I can see who was at the top of the field now. It was Pittman, who the defense is not respecting as a deep threat. If they respect him as a deep threat, or at the very least they're concerned that this guy can't handle him running deep, he can't leave like that. And that's one of the things about having deep threats on the field that really open up things, is it keeps things like this from happening. Now, Pittman will be a deep threat, I think, just based on his size going forward. But he's watching. See, he's not going to commit down there until he sees this guy cut in, because the Colts do run route variations where he'll fake out and then come back out for a fade. So he's watching for that. And then there it goes. He just basically jumps on that route. And if you notice, I don't think Phil can see that guy because he still hasn't thrown the ball yet. and then there it goes. And now there's just no shot. The ball's going to be up in the air so long. The defender has a superior angle on the ball, and that he's running forward. And this is a situation where when Campbell is more experienced, he may come back to the ball a little more. He may feel that guy, but that hasn't happened for him yet. And that becomes an interception there. And we'll go ahead and watch the end zone view just so we can see if Rivers even looks at the free safety there. So nothing so far. Nope, never looked at him. Never looked at him. But that's not one of his keys. I mean, the quarterback can't see everything. There's too much going on. So basically, at the snap, he's got several keys he's supposed to look at, whether it's a particular linebacker or a particular safety, and where they go and what they do changes what side of the field he is supposed to throw the ball to and stuff like that. Well, that's going to be all for this video. I just wanted to diagram some plays, maybe talk about some stuff that you may not have heard before from, paid NFL analysts or even YouTubers. So if there's anything you like from that video, well, stick around. Maybe there'll be more in the future. We will see. Have a great one.